At a track that Toyota has struggled at in the next gen era, they led all but 14 laps today. Christopher Bell wins at Phoenix, his first ever win at Phoenix. And very important because remember, this is where the championship race is. And who is my championship pick? Oh, yeah, Christopher Bell. Now, we haven't seen anyone sweep both Phoenix races in a season in the championship era at Phoenix. So, maybe this means he won't win the championship now. But anyways, we're getting sidetracked. As I said, Toyota obliterated the field today, whether it was Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin. There was only one driver who was not in a Toyota that led laps today. He led 14 laps, and his name was Todd Gilliland. I kid you not, every other lap was led by a Toyota today. At least that's what the NASCAR website tells me. But yes, that is something that Toyota has, in this next-gen era, has struggled at. These short tracks. And when it comes to championship weekend, Phoenix, they have really struggled at. Chevy and Ford had won all the races up to this point in the next-gen era. Chase Briscoe in the spring of 2022, Joey Logano in the fall of 2022, William Byron in the spring of 23, and Ross Chastain in the fall of 23. No Toyotas, as I've said, and they've struggled not only to just win, but to really be competing for the win. Tyler Reddick got close last year, but it took a late race restart, and that race was dominated by Kyle Larson. Toyota's just kind of not been there when it comes to Phoenix especially, but just the short tracks in general in the next-gen era. Yes, I know they have a few wins. Christopher Bell won at Martinsville in 2022. He won at the Roval in 2022. We saw Denny Hamlin win the Bristol night race last year. But Chevy and Ford have really just been more dominant. They have been better at this type of racetrack. But today, Toyota, they flipped the script on that story, and they absolutely, as I said, dominated the field. We saw a couple incidents today. Joey Logano got involved in something. I think he got tapped by John Hunter Nemechek. We saw one early crash that took out Austin Dillon and Austin Cindric. Nothing other than that. And then as for the racing itself, we overreacted. By we, I mean me. I overreacted to practice on Friday. And we talked about how, this short track package of this race sucks. We need to change it yet again. This is just getting more frustrating. And after the first stage, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to come do a video, a 15, 20-minute video as I do. I'm going to have to add another 15, 20 minutes apologizing for overreacting. Then stages 2 and 3 kicked in and might have saved me a little bit. Once again, stage 1 was great. There was great racing throughout the field, different leaders, battles up front, Reddick, Hamlin, all that stuff. But then stages 2 and 3, it kind of went back to typical Phoenix and typical next-gen short track. There was some racing throughout the pack. Yes, we saw some guys come back through the field. Martin Truex Jr. pitted with about 40 to go. He sliced and diced his way back to 7th on much fresher tires. But we did see some of that, it gets strung out. Guys can't pass, or it's very, very difficult to pass. And it was just a little Phoenixy, I guess. So, as I said, this race hosts a championship every year now in this stupid format. I don't like this format. Someone in the comments the other day said I like to rant a lot, or I get mad a lot. And I get most mad about the format. That's number one. I try my best to stay optimistic about the racing, but Phoenix has not been great in recent years. Let's look at the results of this race. Christopher Bell is your winner. It's his first win of the season, gets himself into the playoffs. The first non-Chevy to win a Cup Series race in 2024, of course, William Byron, Daniel Suarez, and Kyle Larson prior to today. So Christopher Bell, your first non-Chevy winner of the year. And that second half of the race, he had the fastest car. It didn't matter if he was on newer tires, if he was on the same tires. He was able to make moves. He was able to make passes, slice through the field, and he made it look easy. Won this thing by over 6 seconds. Christopher Bell, second half of this race, really just dominated. Won a stage, so 6 playoff points to his name. Christopher Bell gets himself a win in 2024. Second place, Chris Buescher. He was kind of running back half of the top 10, front end of the top 15 or 10th to 15th, however you want to say it, early on in this day, but rallied, throughout the day. I think he pitted on that late race pit stop with about what was it, 80, 90 to go after a caution. So he had about 10 lap fresher tires than some of the guys further down the order. But, I mean, he was passing some really good cars. He was able to be ahead of Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, some cars that led a lot of laps early in this race. And then he was able to pass Ty Gibbs there in the final lap. So, Chris Buescher, it's been a rough start to the year. The last place finish last week at Las Vegas due to the tire issue. And this week, getting a second place finish, getting a good, solid points day. This is where I expect RFK to be. And after they struggled at the start of this year so far, but after today, they got both cars in the top 10, both cars in the top 5, sorry. It's a good step back forward for them. Third place, Ty Gibbs, another great day for Ty Gibbs. Last week was in the top 5 at Las Vegas, was in the top 5, top 10 for that race, the majority of the race, and once again, in the top 5, top 10 for most of this race, led a good chunk of laps in this race. He is getting much better. He's getting much more consistent at different types of racetracks. Ty Gibbs, I think he's going to be good this year, and he is once again proving it. His second straight top 5, a great race for him. Fourth place, Brad Keselowski, a good race for him. Just as I said with Buescher, it's been a rough start to the year for Brad. He was sitting in the 20s in the points, but he gets himself a top 5 at Phoenix. Great race for him. Good to see him up front. Fifth place, Ryan Blaney, the defending Cup Series champion. Last time he was here, won his Cup Series championship. But remember, he does not have a win at this track, finished second in that fall race. This is one of his better racetracks, and it proved to be once again as he scores yet another top 5 at Phoenix. Sixth place, Ross Chastain. Solid day for him. Good top 10 for him. Seventh place, Martin Truex Jr. Had an alternate strategy there at the end, stayed out. Knew they were going to have to pit, so kind of banking on a caution. Ultimately, it didn't happen, but Truex pitted with 40 to go, got himself some fresh tires, had much fresher tires than everyone else, and was able to come back and finish 7th in this race. Led 55 laps. One of those Toyotas that was just really, really fast today. 8th place, Michael McDowell. Really good result for him. Good to see him in the top 10. 9th place, Chase Briscoe. SHR, especially Briscoe and Gregson, are not looking as horrible as I thought they would right now. I had super low expectations for Stewart-Haas Racing heading into the season. Gregson and Briscoe are proving me and I feel like a lot of other people wrong so far. Briscoe's got a top 10. Gregson's got a top 10 so far. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win the championship, but they're looking solid. 10th place, Tyler Reddick dominated the first half of this race, led 68 laps, won stage 1, and looked like the car to beat. But ultimately, when he got back in traffic due to the late race strategy, the shuffling of the field, he just couldn't get through the field as well as guys like Bell, like Gibbs, like some of these other drivers, other cars. And ultimately, he had to settle with a 10th place finish. He's had a good start to the year so far. Came really close at winning last week at Vegas. But this week, another great car, but ultimately falls short. 11th place, Denny Hamlin had a good race going, was fighting for the lead, and then just kind of lost the car and spun himself out. It was really bizarre. He almost took out the car he owned, but he ultimately did not. So he led a lot of laps today. Let's see. It says he also led 68 laps today. And Denny Hamlin, 11th in this race. Car number 11 finishes 11th. 12th place, Noah Gragson, a good result for him. Back-to-back good results. The 6th at Las Vegas, a 12th here today at Phoenix. It's been a solid start to the year. I know they had that 35-point penalty due to some illegal parts or whatever. I can't remember the exact thing, but they've overcome that penalty the past couple of weeks, getting 2 really good points days, 2 good finishes for Stewart-Haas Racing, the number 10 team. 13th, Daniel Suarez. 14th, Kyle Larson was kind of irrelevant all day, honestly. 15th, Carson Hocevar. 16th, Bubba Wallace. 17th, Todd Gilliland. Led 14 laps today. He's led over 80 laps this year. Good result for Todd. 18th, William Byron. 19th, Chase Elliott. Same story for both of these guys. First 2/3 of this race, they were running in the top 10, even the top 5 at times. But that last call to pit ultimately put them back in the field, and they just could not make their way through traffic. And it was a struggle. Those last 100 laps for Byron and Elliott, they finished 18th and 19th. 20th, Alex Bowman. 21st, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 22nd. Kyle Busch spun out in this race, but comes back, finished 22nd. Ryan Preece, 23rd. Justin Haley, 24th. John Hunter Nemechek, 25th. Josh Berry, 26th. Harrison Burton, 27th. Daniel Hemrick, 28th. Zane Smith, 29th. Kaz Gralla, 30th. 31st, Eric Jones. Showed a lot of speed in the first part of this race. He qualified up in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. Was contending for the lead at one point, which is, by the way, Fox, when Eric Jones goes side by side with Ty Gibbs for the lead, why do you cut to commercial the instant they get side by side? I kid you not, it happened. The instant Eric Jones got side by side with Ty Gibbs for the lead, time for commercial. Whoa. I was very annoyed. But Eric Jones actually did not get the lead after that. Wish I could have seen it, but he didn't get it. And then later in the race, on a restart, him and the 14 somehow got collected, and Eric Jones slapped the wall, broke the toe link. He ends up finishing 31st, and he ended up being pretty mad at Chase Briscoe after the race. He didn't fight him or anything, but he said that he's been mad at him for a while, said he would try to call him, and that he probably wouldn't answer the phone. So Eric Jones and Chase Briscoe, if those two get close to each other on the track, look out for that in the future. 32nd, Austin Dillon. He was involved in an early wreck. Corey LaJoie, his first DNF in 44 races. Fun fact of the day. Or not so fun fact of the day if you're a LaJoie fan. Joey Logano, 34th. Oh, my goodness. What a horrendous start to the year for Joey Logano. The qualifying has been insanely good. The races have been insanely bad. Another DNF for Joey Logano. It's been a terrible start for the 2022 and 2018 champion. Man, they got to get it together. I know we're only 4 races in, but they got to start getting it together. Derek Kraus finishes 35th and Austin Cindric 36th. Tough weekend for Penske outside of Blaney. But thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, Phoenix is a track that exists. It doesn't have the greatest racing, and we'll see how the short track package, if it does indeed improve at Martinsville, at Bristol next week, that's going to be a big test. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. Christopher Bell is your winner, gets his first win of 2024, and I will see you guys in the next video, whenever it may be this week.